Hey guys, recently I've been looking up about tariffs, researching about tariffs and economics. I'm not some economic guru, but I'm just like a normal person. I like to find things out that I don't know about and research as much as I can with what I have available to me. So I just want to show that to you. I really want to show people who are really against tariffs and economic policy and people who are really pro-tariffs. And I want to do my best to show from their perspectives of why they think what they think. So I just kind of want to show, hey, I'm against tariffs and this is why. I'm for tariffs and this is why. So to start off, I really want to show the anti-tariff part. This is the part that I'm most familiar with because I had economics class, I had business classes in school, and basically my entire life and academically, I've been told that tariffs are a bad thing for economics. I've been told, hey, tariffs are not a good thing for capitalism, for the global economy, even for just an individual country. Tariffs are the idea of protecting production of a certain good within your own country. And the way you protect the production of certain good is by sort of taxing that production from other countries. Let's say you wanted to protect your corn farmers in your country. In order to do that, you would tax the corn crops coming in from other countries. So the Australian corn coming in would have to pay a tax in order to buy it within your own country so that your own people would be incentivized to buy corn from your own country's corn producers. So it's a way of sort of guarding your production within your country. And the way I was taught was that they used this for years, but sort of whenever the global economy aroused in somewhere in the 20th century, that when it came about, they realized that if they'll take down the tariffs, if they'll approach more of a free economy idea, actually what it does is, because if you take off the tariffs from Australia, what happens is they'll find a way to bring corn cheaper. And then that'll actually bring a better price to your own consumers. And then it'll create innovation and competition from your own corn producers. Your corn producers will learn how to make corn more efficiently to compete with the Australian corn prices. So effectively, it's actually going to bring down the price of corn all across not just your own country, but all across the world. That's how I was taught. That's the opinion, that tariffs are something that actually get in the way of bringing down prices of consumption prices for consumers. The idea is that when you have more tariffs, that your products that you buy in Walmart are going to be more expensive because of these tariffs, that this country has a tariff, this country has a tariff. And basically the production has to get through those tariffs, or there's not enough competition to bring the price down, so the prices are more expensive within the stores. So that's kind of how I was taught. Tariffs were like bad idea. It's, think of a Milton Friedman. He had a more of a free economic idea, more of a globalism. In fact, in one of his books, he was talking about the idea that even if other countries have tariffs, your own country should not have tariffs. So he said, even if another country has tariffs, you shouldn't reciprocate their tariff, because that's just going to hurt you and them in the prices. His idea was, hey, you should have more of a free trade no matter what anybody else does. No matter what anybody else does, you should have a free trade. You should take your barriers off and invite them to have a no tariff policy by not having barriers within yourself. But even if you don't have barriers and they have barriers, you're still better off than both of you having tariffs. So recently, when my own country began using tariffs in our economics, I was a little confused myself, because I had always been taught that it was agreed that tariffs were a bad idea, that they stunted economic growth in your own country and across the world. So I started researching. I wanted to find out, why do people think that tariffs are a good idea? So once I researched, I learned a kind of a new way of looking at things. I'm not even saying that this is the right way, but it was a different way of looking at it, and I'd like to share with you what their perspective is. They've seen that the anti-tariff policies has actually taken American jobs, so American jobs that used to be inside of America have gone to countries where labor is a lot cheaper. So maybe in some Asian countries and African countries, labor's a lot cheaper, so you usually pay the American worker this much, you don't have to pay these workers this much, so all the jobs have gone to them, which has benefited Americans in terms of consumption of goods. So it's made our products cheaper, we've been able to buy stuff cheaper, but they said, hey, we don't have those jobs anymore. So while our consumption is cheaper, our actual wealth hasn't increased. So to kind of understand this, they said we're able to buy cheaper things, but we're not actually making more money than we used to. We're making a lot less money than we should be making if we had the jobs here. What they claim is that the American worker, the average wage has actually stagnated, and the average American hasn't gotten richer during this time of American prosperity increasing. And they say, okay, so where did the money go? So then they look at the wealth gap, and they saw that the rich people and the middle class poor people, that their gap just spread dramatically. That rich people got super rich and the middle class sort of stayed where they were. So their ideas were, hey, we increased free trade, we took down tariffs, but all the profit we've made from low consumption of goods and from high profit margins have actually only gone to the pockets of the top 1%, the top 10% of the nation. So they said, hey, we don't think this is a good idea anymore to not have tariffs. A third factor they point out is they point out that America does have the largest economy in the world, and that because we have the largest economy in the world, we should be getting the best deals. We should be getting the best rates from other countries for distribution, from buying other products. But they say no, that actually, in their words, other countries have treated America badly, that they're not giving us the best rates, that they're actually tariffing our products at high rates, and they have barriers of entry in their own industry. So they're not buying our automotives. They're not letting our production into their own country, but they're gladly selling us their production. And from what I've heard from this group of people is that they actually think that free trade in theory is a good idea. But their idea of a good free trade system is that we import just as much as we export. So every country has not just a free trade where there's no tariffs, but an equal trade, that I trade just as much in some products as you trade in other products. So I send you just as much value of bananas as you send me value of wheat. But what they're saying is that America is importing way more than we're exporting. So it's an unequal trade. It's a fair trade, but it's an unequal trade, and that has bad results for our own workers inside our country. I would love to know what you think about this. Go ahead, comment your opinion. Don't forget to like, subscribe to see more content. I hope your tomorrow is better than your today.